So here we go. As we mentioned, Denham won the toss and is kicking to the right of screen. Allen and Somerville go at it. Camberelli gets the first kick of the day. It's high and it's wide towards centre wing. It's marked by Manton. He rips it away quickly. The Blues go down to half forward. And a good mark is taken on right half forward by White. Still a long way from home. He's got Lance Whitnell. He's got Whitnell in form, who booted 8 last week. Kick dropped short in towards centre half forward. Somerville was waiting at the back, but it doesn't matter. Oh, the hand pass has gone astray. This may open the door for Koutafidis. Denham comes through, gets it quickly away to a hand pass in Barnard, and his kick goes only as far as Manton. Manton marks on centre wing.
And Manton from the wing, up towards the 50. Well, they waited down there on the forward line, but Buick hit the ball very hard. Hand pass comes out. Berbatov gets it away. Hardwick along the ground, up towards centre wing. It goes to Manton. In a bit of space, Manton. And he picks out Murphy. Low kick is perfect. Inside the 50. And Beaumont has it. He kicks from 49 metres. But a poor kick off the left. He hooked it badly. Out of bounds on the full. And we're still looking for the first score of the game.
Well, we've seen a couple of fundamental errors early, which probably indicates that both sides are a little bit toey. It has been built up in Melbourne as a very big game with David Parkin's record, of course, but we saw Paul Barnard handballing under pressure, and then that kick from Beaumont lacked a little bit.
Brown, Murphy and Hogg all combine to go towards the forward line. DiIulio and co. Porter tried to get the hand pass out. That was stymied. Goes in again. So tis DiIulio. Ronnie can't take it. Hardwick working hard. Koutafidis couldn't get an effective kick away. She's tough in there at the moment. And that's the way we like it. Hogg is in trouble. But now he settles down and takes the mark. 35 metres out. And the angle should not be a problem for him.
Pretty congested in that Carlton forward line with just 4 players outside of the forward 50 of the Navy Blue. So it was a lucky kick that got out to Matthew Hogg, but early in a match, he'll take them any way that they come.
Match has been in progress for a couple of minutes, and Essendon hasn't got it past centre as yet. Carlton have done all the attacking, and now they have the chance for the first score on the board. 40 metres out, a high floating punt kick, and it is one behind.
Sandy, just an interesting start. Koutafidis started as a loose man at centre half back and then has slowly drifted down to full forward. So maybe they're just trying to bit a few ducks and drakes playing between coaches.
Fletcher to kick in. On a gusty, windy day at the MCG. The crowd building all the time. It might yet be a monster. Fletcher, not far short of centre wing. Won't be a great marking day. Denham does well with a hand pass to Berbatov. Just past Barnard it goes, but he butters up for a second go, runs to the 50, just pulled off his kick at the last minute by Andy McKay. Silvani's lined up on Lloyd. That should be one of the highlights of the game, and Sauce gets it away from him, out of bounds. In fact, last year at about this time, in round 16 when these two met, Carlton won by 78 points and Silvani kicked 6. Today he's at fullback.
But Essendon are in attack at the moment. Allen flies high and wins it. Brown appeared to be taken high.
And young Barnard is in that Essendon forward line for exactly that reason, to apply the pressure and keep the ball in. And he did that role particularly well last week against the Saints.
They'll be looking for a big day from Brown, with especially no Ratton today. In these cool conditions, we've got a throw in on centre wing.
Denham appears to be running with Justin Murphy as a one-on-one tag situation.
Allen won it, tried to get it down to DiIulio. Hogg sockers it to Ronnie now. He's away to half forward. Kick is good. Beaumont's got it. 55 out. No one in the square could have gone for home. Gives it to young Lance Whitnell, who booted 8 last week. Whitnell goes for home, but he's away to the right as well.
Sandy, you're talking about Aaron Hamill and Brett Ratton, both missing today due to ankle problems. Brett Ratton hurt his ankle on Thursday or Friday late in the week, so obviously a last-minute withdrawal. Yeah,
they'll be missed. But a chance for a couple of boys to step up as Fletcher brings it back into play.
Goes short to Berbatov. So we still haven't had a goal. And we've been playing almost 5 minutes at the MCG. Don't think they'll be kicking any 29 goals like they did last week, the Blues. Moorcroft round the boundary line. Out of bounds on the full. And such is the pressure in this game, the tackling. Lots of players have been put off their kicks, and not all that many marks have been taken to date. Back to a congestion at centre wing. DiIulio flew from the back, thumped on by Hogg. Calthorpe gives chase. Little one in Masiti, who was their leading possession winner last week. Hardwick kicked it very high. Rice thumps the ball down to the front. Well done, Calthorpe. Ball knocked further afield. Here come the Bombers now. Barnard. O'Donnell. They flow into a vacant forward area. Lucas on the 50. He was the closest to goal. Now, what will this Breeze do with the kick? Does he think he can make the distance? He'll have to kick from outside the 50. Lucas hoists it high. Lloyd and Silvani. And almost Olorenshaw at the back. Snapped by Olorenshaw. It's close. It comes back. And thumped through for a minor score. And the Bombers are on the board. So Carlton 2, Essendon 1.
Quick update on the interchange, Drew. Ryan O'Connor, Cockatoo-Collins, Carousel, Johnson for Essendon. Massey, Porter, Anstey and Holm.
Young Massey already getting a run. Silvani back towards the centre. It wasn't a good kick. Calthorpe, an interesting one, in towards the middle. An opportunity now for the Bombers to go forward once again as Wellman, from a standing start, just chips it to Lloyd, who's a long way from home. Congested forward line for Essendon. He'll look down towards Lucas and co. Lucas offers the lead, but chipping in front was Hogg. O'Donnell claims him late, but he manages to get the kick wide to Manton, who's on half-back. Pretty good start by Carlton, although scoring, as Drew said, won't be nearly as easy today. Beaumont takes it on centre wing in front of the eyes. Looks down towards a centre-half forward. He needs the player at the back, and that was Allen. Somerville is going right there with him. Somerville picks it up, heads wide. A nice little kick. It should be okay, but Buick is under pressure. Buick's got to go again. He does. Gets it out to Hardwick. Hardwick chips away, just trying to find a few metres. Murphy gets there just in time, but this time pokes it into the crowd, and it's out of bounds on the full.
Once again, Essendon just over possessing the ball somewhat in their defensive 50. A little handball from Darren Buick. Probably should have been a kick and put his side under pressure, but Carlton weren't able to convert what opportunity they got.
Denham kicks towards centre wing. Manton, playing against his former team, couldn't mark. Whitnell, the hand pass. He's a long way from goal up near centre wing. Centering kick. Juggled by Porter. No mark. There's Denham. What a great day for him. Captaining the Bombers. The umpire will ball it up. Take out Hurd, long. And he gets about, well, third or fourth crack at it.
Porter will take this knock. He's come down to take the ruck because Matthew Allen has pushed down and is now currently at centre at full forward.
Fletcher shows agility and versatility. Bradley at the back. An interesting hand pass to McKay. Back to Bradley again. The two South Australians combine. Kick up towards half forward. Wellman spoils for Fletcher. Pokes it down in front of Hardwick. He's had a pretty good season, Hardwick, as he goes towards centre wing, and Barnard takes the mark. Not quite as ferocious looking now as the hair grows. He goes towards Lloyd, belted clear of him. Pushed down towards Rigola Renshaw. Right there with him is young Chris Massey. And there'll be a throw-in on the outer side. A bit of a gloomy old day starting to unfold here at the MCG. But a good day for football despite this swirling breeze. And a good tight opening. It's what we want to see. No effective winner trying to pluck it out of the air was Justin Blumfield. Brown is working hard. He'll be asked to do a lot of that today. Massey is in there too in the thick of things. Ronnie DiIulio locks it up. And umpire Darren Goldspink, the 33-year-old accountant, will come in and take charge.
Well, he hasn't had to add up too much today, the accountant. 2 behinds plays 1 behind. Going nowhere until it comes to O'Donnell. Hurried kick off the left. Wide near the boundary line. Lloyd outside the 50 and on the boundary line. Very hard man to kick goals against, Stephen Silvani. And Matty Lloyd, who kicked 4 last week and is the Bombers' leading goal kicker for the season, will have to be on his game today to help the Bombers to a winning score against the fullback of the century. Somerville works it beautifully to O'Donnell. Hurried kick out of bounds on the full.
And a couple of midfield matchups, including Gary O'Donnell. He's picking up Craig Bradley. Matthew Hogg is on Darren Buick, and interesting one with McKay of the Blues picking up Mark Mercuri, who really is a tall marking small.
Speaking of tall mark, that was a good mark by Allen. Through handball now, they get it to Brown. He chips towards centre wing and finds Dean Rice. Rice will down towards right half forward, hugging the boundary line. Now there's been a whistle there.
Free kick paid for high contact in the marking contest, Sandy.
Thank you, John. John Russo, our fourth umpire today, as the Blues now have a chance to go inside 50. Strong mark by Kuda. Those bucket hands, similar to Stuart Lowe's, taking a vice-like grip on that ball. He'll have a shot 40 metres out, 45-degree angle.
Well, as the fly indicated at the start of the match, that Kuda has gone into the forward line. After spending the last 2 or 3 weeks gaining some confidence across the centre-half back position, and it's interesting that Michael Sexton's gone back there today to pick up Lucas, and Kuda's shooting for goal.
From 40 metres, the All-Australian player from 1995 adds yet another behind.
Tell you what, Sandy, if you've got a ticket in the first goal kicker, you're still alive. You might be alive for about half an hour.
Kuda's kicked just 10 for the season. Yeah, they're hard to come by at the moment. Barnard gave a bit of a shove at the back of that pack. Now has to get his skates on. Fraser will lend speed support. Just took his eye off it for a moment and lost control. It's out of bounds on the outer side. In fact, there's a free kick being paid.
It was out on the full, Sandy.
So obviously ricocheted away from the boot. And Carlton again have an opportunity of coming inside 50. Buick was lurking there. Gets another chance, Darren Buick. Diulio locks him up. Out shoots the hand pass from Massini to Calthorpe. He's under pressure. Kicks it high in towards the middle. Massey. Good try by the youngster. And a good recovery. Well done, Chris Massey. Off to Allen. Pokes it out wide. If it sits for Rice, he'll be in business. He's away. Sneaking away from Moorcroft and passing to Brown on left half forward. He's still a long way out. He's got Whitnell calling for it long, but it's not going to have the distance to get to him there. Here's Kuda, bending it back to Skoutafidis. Another behind.
Sandy, the wind is playing a lot of havoc, as you can probably see up in the commentary box. It's very difficult to actually judge the ball once it's in the air, but also on the ground. So obviously very, very difficult to kick goals.
Just having a look at the matchups down the middle of the ground just indicates how closely matched these two sides are. Lloyd with Silvani, Lucas and Sexton, Brown with Smoking Joe Massidi, Whitnell and Wellman is a great matchup, and Porter and Fletcher at full forward, but you could replace that with Koutafidis and Burbakov.
That's a perfect kick out for the Bombers, with Denham taking the mark outside 50. Off to O'Donnell, already to half forward. Courage shown by Manton, but he was punched to the ground. It was going to be a free advantage.
The free kick was paid, and then the umpire called advantage. But then when he saw that the ball had been fumbled, the ball will come back and be kicked by Glenn Manton. He's attempting to mark the ball and just cannoned into by Scotty Lucas, so no doubt a free kick.
And he's hobbling Manton. He got rid of it in a hurry with the hand pass. Away goes White behind centre wing, pokes it in short to Brown. A colourful display by the Blues. Fraser Brown up towards the 50-yard wide to Whitnell. Oh, he's bobbled a sitter. You couldn't believe it. 8 goals last week and he just can't get hold of it today so far. Calthorpe. Might have been a little trip there. He's gone to ground. The Bombers fans say, what about a free kick? Umpire Goldspink, and so does Calthorpe.
I think David Calthorpe actually thought he may have been contacted high. Not sure, Drew, but I think here we see it again. He's running, grabs the footy here, running through. No, he's certainly querying the trip, as you said.
Here's a chance for the Blues. Off the left, Beaumont. Another poor kick. He's hooked 2. That didn't go on the full. It bounced out. They just, well, there's a net across the goalpost, Jared. They can't find the opening.
No, it's indicative of, I think, the midfield pressure and also the psychological pressure that these players are under at the present time. This, for Carlton, is a final, and of course, Essendon have to win to maintain their spot in the top 8.
Yes, the victory by Melbourne yesterday puts added pressure on them. Camporelli snaps and goes right across the face. Hewitt marks on the last line of defence.
Fraser Brown's a bit of a problem for the Bombers, though. He's getting a stack of possessions, and whilst Joe Mercedes also getting a number of handballs, I think Brown's doing his work in the forward 50, more dangerous.
A couple of bounces by Somerville, and the ball's down towards Fraser. In turn, inside 50. Now, who have they got there? Rice is heading towards the line. He's pressured all the way by young Moorcroft. Throw it in, they say.
And Sean Denham now on Fraser Brown, so that matchup would come as a result of the number of possessions that Brown has got in this early part of the game. And whilst he's been running with him for a couple of minutes now, Sean Denham just has to tighten up in the in-close situations.
Allen front spot. Ricky Olorenshaw through, but without the ball. Past Mackay to Bradley. Bradley's kick over is only short. Picked up and hurriedly snapped by Blumfield. And another behind is added. This time to Essendon. 2 points, the margin. Justin Blumfield has booted 11 goals coming into this game for the season. The young boy from Tuggeranong.
It's interesting.
Mark Porter.
Craig Bradley actually run down and called for the ball from Steve Silvani so he can kick it in. So Silvani taking a passive role as the ball's being kicked in from the behind.
Bradley having a rare visit to the AFL tribunal and coming away unscathed.
Suspended sentence, yeah.
Yes.
Hadn't been one this decade.
Is Sexton.
Sexton out short of centre wing. Allen. Good mark.
And John Hines has come onto the ground for the Blues, replacing Mark Porter up in a forward position.
Murphy around the boundary line. And Beaumont's taken out by Hardwick, and we'll have a throw in. Well, Gerard, I know you're a punter, but put your bookies hat on. What odds? No goals at quarter time. We're at the 16.5-minute mark.
Yes, he's pretty barren out here at the present time. There's Mark Porter just taken off the ground, and well, I think you'd be getting pretty big odds, Drew, just to answer the question. But it has been a good start, hasn't it? Often we're entertained by a multitude of goals, but today it's been tight and tough football with lots of one-on-one matchups. Denham started there on Justin Murphy, but as we know, he is now on Fraser Brown, and Murphy has his second opponent.
Might give you a minute or two to get on that phone and see what odds they're offering, because I reckon it's a chance. Unbelievable. The Blues kicked 29 goals 11 last week, and so far they are 4 behinds and Essendon 2 behinds.
There's also the blustery conditions out there whilst the wind is blowing from the north. It doesn't favour one end here at the MCG. It swirls around and around and around, and at various times you can be kicking with or against the wind at both ends of the ground.
Diulio and Hogg combined. Carlton in towards Kuda. One hand at the back. It wasn't enough, but that's a sensational tackle to lock that ball up. There's a cry of ball from the Carlton boys. Back it will come, however.
It looks as though he's reported Anthony Koutafidis. He's certainly taken his number.
The number's been taken.
Trip.
Yeah, now...
Would have been for the attempt trip. And
tripping by foot is a reportable offence and a 50-metre penalty, so we'll see the 50 applied as well. If it's tripping by hand, it is simply the 50-metre penalty and not a report. So the fact that the foot is used means that it's a report as well as the 50.
Brings Berbakoff almost down to the centre. In fact, Fletcher will kick over the centre. Down towards half forward. In front of Mark McCurry. Mackay's got him. He's persistent, Mackay. He needs help now because O'Donnell came in. Sexton tries to slap it wide. Wider towards centre wing. Picked up out the back and tried to shooting it forward was Hines. Berbakoff waits at the back. It's an effective spoil away from Beaumont. Camporelli gives chase. Traps it well. Camporelli round the body. In towards half forward. Good kick. Calthorpe got there just in time, and he's going to be the one who'll tidy up. Gets the call from Wellman. Barnard is there with him. In fact, it will be Barnard, tucked in the back pocket, sneaking over the top of Manton. Finds Wellman. Had a marvellous year for the Bombers, and that's a horrendous kick. As soon as you give him a rap, Diulio takes it. Sorry, Sean, but these things happen.
And haven't there been some fantastic last-second desperate lunges to spoil? I've seen a couple of them in particular at the Carlton end of the ground.
Camporelli's kick in towards full forward. And out of the air, Allen maybe first to it.
Didn't get hold of that one.
He gets an awful bounce. Moorcroft gets up the hand pass towards Somerville, who says, thanks very much, I didn't really want that. Brown. The pressure here is fantastic. This is the way it should be, though. Bradley, short. That's okay. Finds Koutafidis a long way from home.
Well, they're hooting Koutafidis. The Essendon fans, of course. Reported for a trip. Manton, good mark. Within kicking distance. Maybe this will be the first.
Well, you wouldn't back it right at the moment, Drew, would you? The way the wind is swirling around. But a good decisive lead here from Glenn Manton, just getting away from Mark Fraser. I'm not sure his direct opponent, but he was the one committed to the spoil. And he just took off a couple of yards after Manton. His reaction was perhaps just a little slow. So the Blues have a chance of getting the first major of the day.
Blues lead by 2 points. Manton kicking from 40 metres. No. In the goal square. Wellman gets back. Oh. Bit of a chance here for the Blues. Whitnell's got it. Offline. Another behind. Carlton's 5th. And Whitnell has kicked 2 behinds in the opening term.
And last week we saw Lance Whitnell kick 8 goals, and he now becomes the second youngest player ever in the history of AFL footy, VFL football to kick 8. And we were told at Channel 7 this morning that Doug Strang for the Tigers in 1931 was younger by 66 days. He kicked 14 goals for the Tigers in his when he was 18.
Thank you, Jared.
Yeah, I think I digress.
I'll wrench you towards Lloyd.
Might as well talk about other blokes getting goals because nobody's getting them here.
That's exactly right. Well, maybe the Bombers a chance now. O'Donnell, it's slightly off the side of the boot. Moorcroft uses the body against Rice, but he needs more than that. Fraser picks it up, gets it to the left-footed Lucas. The big boy from Camperdown will try and break the drought, but he can't. Another behind.
Well, Sandy, the fact that Sean Denham kicked right of screen without hesitation once he'd won the toss, and the way the last few kicks have gone, it's certainly favouring, the wind is certainly favouring right of screen. You'd have to say the Blues are doing pretty well.
I don't know who it's favouring. Maybe we can go down to Russell and see if there is actually an advantage to one end, but I would doubt it with this swirling breeze fly.
Yeah, it certainly is. Jared hit it on the top of the head, because it's always difficult with the G here of the wind swirls too much, but if the higher the ball goes, it may be favouring the right to Littles. Mercedes will tell us exactly what's going to happen. It's swirling.
Another behind.
Well, we can't call a goal up here, so we gave you the chance, Fly, and you can't get one either.
Thanks, Drew.
5 points to 4 points. And Craig Bradley, with a 2-match suspension hanging over his head until the end of next season. Kicks in for the Blues. We have just 4.5 minutes remaining to see if we can get a goal in this first term. The pressure's been intense. Tell you what, Sandy, my last 2 games have been outside of Melbourne. Very heavily biased for a home team. And it's fantastic to come back and have a crowd which is 50-50, and they're giving the ball man and all that, and a big crowd at the MCG. It's just great.
And I think you have had a couple of games that haven't exactly been close. Well, you might have one today.
Well, actually, every game this round has been a real cakewalk, so we look as though we'll change that trend here today. This might be high scoring, but I think it'll be close.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be about a 13 points to 14 points victory. But just to go, there looks like a blood rule, and whilst we've got a little bit of time, John, just to, I guess, give a personal experience in the MCG, a number of times you could go to one end of the ground in the same quarter and the wind would be blowing into your face, and then you go to the other end of the ground and the wind likewise would be blowing into your face. And on the reverse, you'd line up for a goal at the 10-minute mark of a quarter and it'd be blowing left to right, and then you might line up for another kick 10 minutes later and it'd be blowing right to left. So this ground just it is a nightmare for footballers when it's as windy as it is today.
So the vet from Narracourt is off with the blood rule to the head, and Darren Hume comes on. A point the margin.
And what's Darren Hume, Sandy?
He's a youngster. We wish him well. Just 21 years of age. And Essendon have it in their attacking zone. Let's see what they can do in these last few minutes. Bradley, Murphy, Bradley again, Brown, a chance to clear through Hogg. A little bit of space, a little bit of time. Goes towards centre wing, perhaps not enough, however, because Lloyd has chopped it off. He gives it away to Hardwick. Hardwick looks to half-forward. Silvani comes over the top. Brown is in front of him. They were lining up. Gives it away to Murphy. What an intriguing struggle. Hardwick did appear to be held then, but play on, and so Wellman does. Goes towards half-back, and Darren Buick takes the mark.
Buick floats the hand pass over the top to Hardwick, who ran on, who delivers it further to Blumfield. Now Mercury. He's a long way out, thumps it long to the goal square. Moorcroft, oh, those speckies, but this time he's beaten by the man in front. I think Moorcroft might have seen Winston in Canberra yesterday, and I said, I'll knock you off for the mark of the round.
Well, we had Jeff White put out a challenge here at the MCG yesterday. Let's have another look at this one. Well, if Moorcroft had have plucked that one, it would have been a great contender. But Cooter, who's obviously got a bit of a roaming commission, was down there and taking a pretty good mark.
Great to see Cooter taking that mark, because you wonder what goes through a player's mind when he's reported early in a game and he knows he's got an appointment at the tribunal later in the week. Calthorpe delivers well to Barnard, who has been a good player in the opening term, coming up for his 7th disposal.
And Matthew Lloyd also looks as if he's got a roving role.
Can he get the distance here? He's broken the drought! Matty Lloyd, thanks for coming. 25.5 minutes to get our first goal.
And it came through Matthew Lloyd, who started the game as a full forward. But at present, I think he interchanged with Gary O'Donnell, and he was in the middle of the ground.
Gary.
And, well, Gary O'Donnell will be pretty pleased that the young man wearing number 18 has bobbed up with the first goal, and clearly he's now shifted back to that forward position. And he's been picked up by Serge Silvani's son.
So back in the middle after the first goal of the game comes with just a couple of minutes remaining in this first term. Allen's hand pass, it's going to be okay. Finds White, who kicks it high towards DiIulio. Ronnie couldn't take it cleanly. Wellman tried to palm it away. DiIulio has it at the bottom of the pack once again. Hardwick locks it in. They ask the question, but no, there'll be another bounce.
Sandy, just to support the umpire up there, at least with one of his comments, I think the wind might have caught Lloyd's kick on that occasion.
It only went 70 metres. Russ, what do you mean?
Sorry, Johnny.
It did. No, it did. It went 70-odd metres, so certainly helped by the wind.
Bradley, as Andy McKay, we saw just a moment ago, has been patched up on the chin and is standing by on the sidelines to come in. That was an interesting throw almost by Joe Mercedes towards the line. Did that go out on the full? No. A throw in with a minute and a quarter remaining.
It was a nice toe-to-toe then with Darren Hillman and Moorcroft, Sandy. It was a ripper, actually. It was a pity we didn't get it on the screen. But anyway, there might be a camera angle around the place.
We're keeping an eye on them, don't worry. Here's White. Calthorpe, those little pistons were taken out from underneath him. Back towards centre wing. Bradley, the dash of Craig Bradley. We know it well. Cooter. Well, they'll be doing that to him for the rest of the afternoon, but it won't worry him in the slightest. Murphy's waiting down. Seconds are ticking away. Carlton still looking for their first goal. Brown puts them inside 50. Where's Whitnell? Couldn't take the mark. They need something here. Camporelli. Gone. A cry of ball from the Essendon supporters. Hardwick gets it away. Fraser's on his way, and the Bombers are out of trouble.
It doesn't reach Moorcroft again, and Silvani, who'd come right up the ground with Lloyd, takes the mark. Nobody in the inside 50 or the forward 50 for the Bombers. Fraser Brown on the cricket pitch area. 30 seconds remaining in the first term. Can the Blues get there first? Good long kick. Rover needed. Front of the pack. Off the ground, DiIulio. Berbikoff. Calthorpe. Caught in a two-man tackle. Held up. The umpire will ball it up. Right in front. 35 metres out. And seconds ticking away. We're down to 10 to the siren.
And Peter Berbikoff has had a very good quarter for all the Bombers in defence, as has Sean Wellman.
And the Blues get it out. Socked away by Buick on the siren. And a quarter of football at the MCG that lasted 28.5 minutes and produced just one goal. Essendon 1-4, Carlton 5 behinds.
Second quarter here at the MCG. It's a 5-point margin favouring Essendon. The Bombers now going to the left of screen.
Cooter starting at full forward in the second term.
The bounce is not a good one. Blumfield almost copped one high. Ripping it out of the middle is Joe Mercedes. Kicks inside 50. Silvani tried to use the body, then almost gave away the free kick. Well done by Silvani, though, against the odds. Clever tap out to Hogg. From half back, Carlton repel and come towards Manton, who's in front of Fraser.
Interesting matchup, this one. Glenn Manton on Mark Fraser. Of course, Fraser would have the great pace advantage, but Manton's got a couple of possessions now in one-on-one marking duels.
Floating old punt kick by Brown is okay to D'Ulio, who's in the middle. Chip, he changed direction there and did it very well in the end, finding Sexton. Michael Sexton's got Allen 58 metres out, and he has got a little pass on to Beaumont. Suddenly Carlton find themselves shooting for goal in the opening minute of the game in the second quarter. Beaumont wastes little time. Goes with the left foot in towards full forward. Hines elected not to fly. Somerville eventually does the roving work for the Bombers, and they're out of trouble to the outer side.
Sexton under pressure from Lucas. Along the line he goes. Gains a few metres and we'll get a boundary throw in.
And it could have easily been another goal to the Bombers as we have a look at the Carlton interchange. There's Mark Porter. But Steve Silvani has got to be the world expert at scragging his opponents and not getting paid free kicks.
Renshaw goes through, loses control of it. Murphy dives hard at the ball, and that'll be a ball up. Murphy had 10 possessions in the first quarter. Fraser Brown had 12. And Hardwick led for Essendon with 11. Fans rugged up on a cold winter's day here in Melbourne, but the prospect of a real heavyweight stoush between these two. Back towards centre wing. Murphy in the same direction as the ball. That is a fantastic mark by Justin Murphy. And he is playing some sort of game. Look at this. Didn't know what was coming to confront him. Eyes on the ball all the way for a top mark. There's Koutafidis and Fletcher going for it. And Fletcher wins this contest. Youngster who played in a premiership when he was still a schoolboy in '93. He was still playing for the school firsts and occasionally broke away to play league football and played in a flag in the AFL.
And still a youngster now, not over 100 games, Drew, so he's got a long career ahead of him. Matty Lloyd, and there's Silvani. Been a wonderful servant for the Carlton Football Club. 244 games. Somerville and Allen to go at it again, both trying to palm in a similar direction. Calthorpe on all fours. It was Moorcroft who eventually got it out. Lloyd is under pressure, but he does get a kick down towards Lucas. Bradley does the roving. He's scragged to the ground. Fraser's taken out of it. Lucas gets another chance. Silvani almost gets him. Has support to go again. Hogg, if it sits, will be in business. Runs out of room because Ronnie was coming right at him, his teammate. It is tough. Calthorpe tries to pick it up. He ducked his head, Mr. Calthorpe. They let it go for what seems to be a darn long time. And eventually, umpire Stuart Wynn, the 29-year-old banker, comes in and says, I'll take control.
Bit of spite in there, Sandy. And normally they won't blow the whistle for a ball up until the ball is clearly trapped unless they see a...
Moorcroft and Murphy, sorry to interrupt you, but they're just having a little introductory chat.
Darren Buick gets a free kick for holding a man.
Something needed to happen there to break it up. Buick out towards the pocket. Barnard, good lead.
Yeah, Barnard went down a full forward about 3 or 4 minutes ago, and Glenn Manton pushed down to pick him up. And all of a sudden now, Barnard with an opportunity to convert another goal for the Bombers. They've started this term pretty well, have Essendon. A bit stiff not to get a free possession through the centre-half forward area just a second or so ago when David Calthorpe fumbled it, but by golly, it was red hot in the middle of the ground, and that's the sort of pressure that's made it a very tight tussle to this stage in the game.
Barnard and Manton a bit more like it rather than Manton with Fraser. So Paul Barnard kicking from just outside 40 metres for the Bombers' second. Gets across the face, still in the field of play, and now thumped through for a rush behind. Well, it could be chocolate to boil lollies in 1 week for the Blues. They might go from a 29-goal game to about a 5-goal game.
Long kick almost back to the centre.
Murphy will take the free kick for marking interference.
Made sure that umpire Wynn was aware of it. Flat-looking punt kick down towards Whitnall. Wellman's had his measure and does so on this occasion too. He's had a season and a half, Sean Wellman. Kickers eventually okay to Ola Renshaw. Moorcroft back to Ola Renshaw again. In trouble, Blumfield. 5 Finally, Lloyd in towards half forward. Strong mark. Had to stand and wait. Manton.
And 50.
He's going to be penalised. He's got 50.
And what an important 50 also. With these blustery conditions, it does make it very difficult to kick goals from that 40-metre area. And this now has turned it into an absolute certainty.
The umpire obviously felt the contact was after the mark had been taken by Barnard.
What do you think, John?
Well, it's certainly late, so I'm comfortable with that. Otherwise, it's a free shot. Barnard had taken the mark moments before the contact, so it's reasonable.
And once again, it was Lloyd kicking the ball down to the forward zone.
He gets it. So Barnard gets his first. And when goals are hard to come by, it's a handy 2-goal lead to Essendon, 2-5. Those 5 behinds.
Yeah, Barnard takes the mark, and then Manton comes in and makes contact, so causing a delay in play after the mark had been taken. It's reasonable to pay the 50-metre penalty in those circumstances.
So Paul Barnard, another classic example of the flexibility of football. Paul Barnard, of course, a noted backman, now kicking goals.
Well, the Bombers going for their 4th win on the trot here. And they have a handy break. They have the only 2 goals of the game. O'Donnell's kick, will it sit for Denham? He has to wait, taps the ball down to Lloyd. Fraser from all fours. Silvani up the ground. He came with Lloyd. Silvani away. Brown. Hume just gets away from a desperate dive. Was going to be a free kick. Advantage to Hume. Good kick. Whitnell. Good running here by Ronnie Diulio. Open goal for the Blues. Is it their first? Yes!
Well, I'll give you a hypothetical. That free kick was in fact paid for the trip on Hume, but the advantage was called. Now, if it's a trip by hand, then there's no report, but there is a 50-metre penalty. So, in theory, Carlton could have had the free kick from the wing and then advanced as a 50-metre penalty, and a set shot at goal from where the 50-metre penalty would have ended up.
So the Blues are on the board. One straight kick the difference. Dark old skies here in Melbourne this afternoon, but no rain at the moment. That's good news as the Bombers have a chance to go down towards the 50-metre zone once again. Push towards the line.
That has to be
shoved in the back. Surely.
Yeah, it's not paid, Sandy. Now, to be fair, the umpire was immediately behind that tackle, but those sorts of tackles are creeping into footy. Tackle from behind,
it's got the hand on
actually
the back.
Buried and falls all over the top of Matthew Lloyd, and that is certainly a free kick for a push in the back, or should be.
Silvani and Bradley slews off the side of Bradley's boot towards centre wing. Diulio having a nice little passage at the moment. Kicks towards the 50.
Stash on behind the play.
Still going. Keep an eye on that, Drew, because this could result in a goal. Cooter's down there and he's going towards Whitnell and Co at full forward. Here's Lance Whitnell. Needs to get round. Needs assistance. Proper old hand pass. Going to be okay. They've got another one. Rice has got it.
And all of a sudden the Blues have found the goals. There have been a little bit of a stink here on centre wing, and Darren Hume was involved in it a couple of times.
Hardwick and Hume.
But look, Lance Whitnell made a poor error there. Got the ball up in the air in the neutral zone, but it was just great skill there by Dean Rice to pluck it out of the air, balk around his opponent, and kick their second.
Ball back in the centre, and umpires calming things down. Now, this is what happened off the ball, and as the ball went up the ground, Hume and Hardwick wanted to go on. Now, there's an emergency umpire right there, and I didn't see any pencils come out, John.
No, I don't think any pencils came out. Just jumpers held and a bit of pushing and shoving, so nothing you would deem a strike.
Somerville goes up against Allen. The Blues have had a good few minutes here. Denham's kick went nowhere. Play on, said the umpire, didn't go any distance. Either did Sexton, smothered. Comes to Massey, the youngster. Berbatov for the Bombers. Hogg hit the ball hard, but didn't come up with a clean possession. O'Donnell has it now to a wide lead, and McCurry marks inside 50. Andy McKay trying to creep a metre or two on the mark. McCurry went for distance, and that's out in the trees. That's one of my drives. I've gone for distance and I'm lost.
A little bit much bottom hand, Drew, and you've certainly turned the ball over. But an opportunity wasted by the Bombers. They did well to get it out of the centre of the ground.
Not out of it yet as Lucas, however, kicks in towards full forward and Lloyd takes the mark.
Well, there's no doubt that the instructions from the Bombers would be to run Steve Silvagni all around the ground. He's taking him down to the wing, he's taking him to half back, and then he's got him on the way back. And on this occasion, he was just out in front and just too much athleticism for Steve Silvagni.
Lloyd kicked the first goal of the game, the only goal of the first quarter.
I think there's a royal decree, Gerard, that Stephen Silvagni shall not give away a free kick.
Well, I tell you what, he's done it very well. He knows where that fine line is, and he just stays a millimetre the other side.
Here's Lloyd for his second, and the Bombers answer again to sneak away.
Wallcroft with that helicopter landing pad on top of his head, sits on the bench. And this is a one straight kick lead to the Bombers.
Don't knock them, Drew. Those landing pads are in fashion at the moment.
We all wish we had enough here to make one. Fierce tackling. Fraser Brown not having room to move.
And Gary O'Donnell trying to track down Craig Bradley. Bradley's played a lot of the game across the half-back line. And there he is. Once one a captain, and one was a captain of the Bombers, of course, Gary O'Donnell.
Clean possession to Allen. He kicks up towards 50. Beaumont, who's had it a bit on the forward line and kicked badly. Camporelli spins into trouble. Two of them get him. And the umpire will ball it up. Umpire Martin Ellis, number 23. Stuart Wen, number 22, and Darren Goldsby, 32.
Interesting matchup, Joe Masudi on Scott Camporelli at the present time.
Z-grade bounce. I've just mentioned all the umpires. That was Martin Ellis, ladies and gentlemen. And here's a kick by DiIulio. Well, the players are making blues as well. That's out on the full.
His mother's rap that you mentioned it anyway, Drew. It was a shocking bounce.
Is there such a thing, John, as a soft patch of ground that doesn't allow you to get that rebound?
No, that wasn't the problem then. The problem was it just slipped out of his hands because immediately after it, he wiped his hands on his socks.
Well, isn't the aim to give both sides an even chance? Shouldn't you recall that?
Well, there's no provision in the rules of AFL footy to recall a bounce, Drew, even though we have seen it done. The umpires have taken it upon themselves to do that, even though it is in fact outside the rules.
Blues working it well here. McKay to full forward. Camporelli couldn't take the mark. Masiti goes backwards to Wellman in the goal square. Wellman very high towards the southern stand side of the ground. They let the ball bounce. Denham with good hands. Carosella, who's just come off the bench. Well, Berbatov was facing the other way. That hit him right on the 20. That'll be a baller.
Last man up, Simon Beaumont.
Steve Silvagni now down in the forward line.
Midway during this second quarter, as Gerard said, things have settled down a little. Denham's at the bottom of that pack. Beaumont again goes in strongly to no avail. It's locked up. And another bounce. He's a man who's booted over 150 goals, has played at both ends of the ground, and has been named as fullback of the century.
And Matthew Lloyd has gone with Sauce. Here he is.
Down in the pocket, that's out of bounds on the full, so he'll get a kick to bring it back in.
He has the breeding, Stephen Silvagni, but if he was a horse and you were looking at him at auction, you bet him wouldn't buy him because you'd take one look at the legs and think he couldn't go.
Spoken by someone who's made a few investments in the equine area. Lloyd. It's getting very dark here at the MCG now. The lights will be on very soon, one would suggest.
Well, this is a pretty good tactical battle here between the two coaches, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not they'll keep Matthew Lloyd at full back on Steve Silvani. So we have a look at the Bombers bench, and Ryan O'Connor and Shea Cockatoo-Collins yet to have a run this afternoon.
Allen with the left hand, Fraser with pace. The Bombers are away in towards half forward. Mark was spilled by Sexton. McKay beaten for pace and claim. Lucas in trouble but gets a kick. It wobbles towards full forward. Goes down in towards Murphy territory. He takes it over the line, conceding one behind.
Tough passage of play there. Could have been maybe a free kick to Scott Lucas, who was scragged temporarily, went to ground, but his second effort was extraordinary.
Murphy brings it back into play. Brown's got to beat a couple and at least try and lock it up. Fraser's there with him. It's a couple of pats on the head from his teammate. Well done.
Well, Matthew Lloyd and Stu Silvani are now in the forward 50 for the Bombers. So the boys are doing a fair bit of roaming.
There you can see Silvani with the number 1 Guernsey on. It's high towards Manton, who's forced to defend and does so well, poking it down for Bradley. He gets a hurried kick towards half-back. Hume is a goer. He's a dasher. He finds Sexton. Claimed by Ola Renshaw. Chance for Lucas. High again. He's going to come back. Tackle too high, as you heard from the fourth umpire, Johnny Russo.
Great battle between Hardwick and Hume. Playing on half forward is Darren Hume for the Blues, but he's really having to earn his kicks on Darren Hardwick, who's had a great year.
Sexton getting underneath one and chipping high. Camporelli around the body. Bending it back in towards the 50. Bad bounce for D'Ulio. He might go again, Ronnie. He does go again. Had Allen going past, but elected to do it on his own. Chips across the ground. Pass is going to have to be good here. There was 3 of them. Koutafidis was one of those. Silvani gets into trouble. Backs out the back door. Pass is smothered. Now pressure on the defence of Essendon as Ola Renshaw sneaks in there. And there'll be a bounce.
Well, once again, Steve Silvani doing the legwork, and it was a great smother. There's Damien Hardwick, who was involved in that passage of play also, but I'm not sure who's dictating terms down there at the moment. It looks like Sauce has elected to become a forward just temporarily. But when the Bombers get the ball, it's Matthew Lloyd who charges into the midfield.
Porter replaces Allen 2/3 of the way through the second quarter. High ball to the pocket. And Silvani all over the park. Picks himself up and will have a boundary throw in. Hardwick and Hume. Points even in the first round. They're just about to start their second round. There's Porter on the ground. Somerville in ruck. Koutafidis. Impossible angle. Back to the goal square. Whitnell.
Geez, he was quick to move to get the best position there, Lance Whitnell. He read that absolutely beautifully. It was a good kick, obviously, but he just, as soon as the ball was in flight, he knew it was coming over the back, and he worked to get that favoured position. And this is a tough shot at goal.
By the look of the flags, the breeze not as strong now as it was when the game started, but tight angle, and it is swirling.
Down to a hurricane.
2 behinds in the first quarter. He gets his first goal.
Well, that's the sort of scoreline we expected to see. Not much in it at midway through the second term. As we know, in the early round this season, the result was just 1 behind, and that's what it is at the moment. And there he is, Big Red, as they call him down at Optus Oval, taking that back position and executing a fine mark. End goal.
James Hird not on the ground today, but enjoying the action there, and behind him is Michael Long. What that'd give to be out there this afternoon.
What the Bombers would give.
Barry Young was also in late withdrawal, so there's the point in it. Essendon leading in a thriller. Porter doing the ruck work. Brown won't escape from Denham. Still in the middle. Somerville and Porter. Somerville wearing 19. got a little bit caught underneath it. Buick tries to slap it further forward. Murphy, proppy hand pass designed for McKay. He's got to try and tap it further afield to accommodate Massey. The youngster's equal to the task, and he does well because he had to beat a couple. Gets it down towards Beaumont. The running McKay goes further afield. Whitnell this time traps it well. Back to McKay. He's not a renowned goal kicker. He goes in towards goal and he goes across the face.
And Darren Hume couldn't believe his misfortune there. I think McKay may have been even looking for him, but the kick was just a yard in front of him and he couldn't quite snaffle it for the goal. They're looking pretty hot at the moment, the Blues.
Fletcher will bring it back in with scores level.
I think we've had a wind change here at the MCG. It looks like it's coming out of the southwest, where most of the day it's been blowing from the north.
Back to Gale Force.
I think so.
Yep.
Calthorpe towards centre wing. Disappointing kick.
Black alert here.
Koutafidis to Sexton. Sexton, it's a high ball in towards a half
Free
forward.
kick against Lance Whitnell for just bumping Fletcher to the ground as Fletcher was perched under the ball to attempt to mark. So, correct free kick. Whitnell just bumps him out of the way, and first intention to get rid of Fletcher.
Gives it over to Hardwick, who ambles out of defence and tries to set something up further down towards centre wing. Now, his kick's going to have to be good. It was plucked in by one with Beaumont, but it's going to come back.
What's happened is the free kick was paid actually for the Shepparder being tackled, and advantage called, but then when the kick went straight to a Carlton opponent, the free kick has come back and been paid.
Glad you're here, John, interpreting some of these things, because there's 70,000 here who haven't got a clue what went on.
Sometimes I haven't.
Up near the logo on the wing. Kuta burst clear. Over the head of Murphy. Kicked it backwards and didn't hit the target. And now they've found the line, or have they? Kuta again. Fraser trying to keep it in for Masiti. Smoking Joe off the left. Inside 50. Sexton back there. Blumfield with him. Silvani, which end is he playing? Well done, Fraser. Caught up by Sexton, and the umpire will ball it up.
Well, I reckon Steve Silvani will be going to the contract and saying that it's written here in black and white that I don't have to run this far in a game, because he has done more kilometres today than I reckon he has done for perhaps the majority of his career in a game.
Close to the line, but inside 50 for the Bombers. McKay camped underneath it. Mercury almost over the top. McKay looking to rush it behind and just gets it there. Which could be a very expensive thing to do in a tight game, because that has broken the deadlock, and the point gives Essendon the lead.
Murphy from the back pocket just wants to pop it over the top. He's got both Rice and Manton there, uses the former. Kicks towards centre wing. Somerville got a fist to it. Fletcher is there to assist, so too Ola Renshaw. Gives it into Masiti. Centering kick towards half forward. Hogg took a wild swipe, all to no avail. Lloyd goes for home. And now Matthew Lloyd is home again. He's got three, is Mr. Lloyd. Two of those in this term. Three of Essendon's four. 4-7, plays 3-6.
It was a good bump there by Dustin Fletcher to set this up, and well, Joe had a couple of options there. They were short, and I think he made the right decision by going for the long one. You saw it swirl in the wind, as did that one, but that's just pure class there from Matthew Lloyd in the middle.
Well, if Silvani's assignment is to run Lloyd around the ground, he's been doing all right, but Lloyd's unfortunately for Sauce kicked 2 goals from outside 50. And 3 out of the Bombers' 4. Porter wins in the middle. Bradley. Massey, he loses control of it. Comes in to apply the tackle. The umpire will ball it up. Well, we've been playing nearly an hour. There have been 7 goals kicked, and Lloyd has shone with 3. Players around this ball up. Umpire almost needs a minus cap. Wouldn't be surprised if the lights go on at half-time. Koutafidis gets a bad bounce. Ball knocked up the ground by Hogg on the hard cricket pitch area. Here comes Buick. Out wide to Masiti. Got shocking bounce. Interfered with Camporelli. Play on. Lloyd. And then Camporelli knocks down his hand pass, and out of bounds it goes.
Free kick for a high tackle. Looks as though it's been paid on the boundary line.
Camporelli.
Yep.
So Camporelli takes it quickly. Hogg has it. Under 3 minutes remaining to half-time. The kick by Hogg towards half-forward. Whitnell in the middle of the pack. Good punch, Berbatov. Rovers needed. Pressure at ground level as we've seen since the start of the game. Denham's kick went nowhere. Hogg again, inside 50. Beaumont! The mark paid. Beaumont right in front, and he'll be kicking from 50. A couple of kicks have sailed long going to this end. So the distance mightn't bother him, but Simon Beaumont, more than most players, has been bothered with accuracy today. And once again, that's unbelievable. He's kicked 3 out of bounds, 2 on the full and 1 on the bounce.
Well, he's due for a goal.
7 points. Now the margin.
Sheesh. Consistency's sake, that had to be a mark.
Yeah.
Not paid, and White flicks it back in towards the forward zone once again. Fletcher goes hard, so too does Buick. Murphy right there with him. Careful, boys.
Jared, I'm just wondering whether the free kick was in fact paid at centre-half forward rather than the mark because of that contact that was high. But again, it was similar to the one on the boundary line then.
Somerville leaning on Porter from behind. Attempted soccer off the ground is not effective. And we have under 2 minutes left in this first half as Shea Cockatoo-Collins still awaits his chance to get into the thick of things, but it will come. A bounce 40 metres out.
Not a day to be sitting on the bench for a long time, is it?
No, it's not. Porter wins this one. Hogg. 43 metres. Eludes 1. Eludes 2. Shoots for goal. Sensational play. So Matthew Hogg gets his first and just his second goal for the season. Good time to get it.
Well, gee, Sandy, if you consider the 2 players he avoided then, Darren Buick and Sean Denham, he's done it. That's Denham, and the last one was Buick, so he's done a very, very good job to evade both of those guys.
Yeah, it's a good finish by Matthew Hogg, who's been on Buick as a tag all day.
So we're back to a 1-point game. And the lights have come on at the MCG just before half-time. 1 minute and a quarter to go to the siren. House in the middle. Porter got very high to win it over Somerville. There's Hogg who kicked the goal in the centre circle, going to ground. Calthorpe for the Bombers. Wins a kick. Doesn't clear the centre square just yet. Murphy.
Ooh.
High? No. Fly on, said the umpire. Porter marks just behind the circle.
I think it should have been high.
Out to Massey. Pretty open here for the Blues. 1 out contest. Beaumont again. Well, he's won the ball all right, but can he kick? Right in front. 25 metres out. And a chance to put the Blues in front. But maybe David Parkin's thinking, gee, the last bloke on the side I want with the ball is Beaumont. Surely he couldn't miss this. Got it.
Carlton take back the lead just before the half-time siren. And I reckon that's probably just deserved because it's just been marginally the better side in this half, I believe. And this is the one, John, you thought was too high.
Yeah, well, certainly looks as though it's high contact on Murphy. And
this is the mark between Beaumont and his direct opponent in Berbatov, and he just clearly got beaten 1 out.
Couple of quick goals and how things have changed for Carlton. 5-6 plays 4-7, 5 points the margin. As Drew said, the lights on. But plenty home here at the MCG. Bad bounce for Carousel. I think it was Hume at the bottom who was ripped to the ground. Young man picks himself up. So too does Ricky Olorenshaw.
McCurry with just 5 possessions coming back into the side today after injuries. Had a pretty tough day on Andy McKay. And he's the sort of player that the Bombers will be looking forward to in this second half to come up with an improved performance if they are going to go on and take the 4 points.
At half-time, a much improved second quarter by Carlton on the scoreboard. 5 behind in the first term, but then 5 individual goal kickers in the second, and they have taken the lead at half-time. Second half here at the MCG. It is Carlton going in with a slender 5-point lead. They're going to the left of screen. Trying to rip it out of the middle for the Bombers was McCurry. Calthorpe gives him assistance. Pumps it high up towards half forward. Mark is dropped. Hogg, but there's going to be a free kick anyway. Hogg's kick clear is going to be brought back.
Important
I think
possession.
Sexton will take it, G.
He will, and an important possession there, I think, for Mark McCurry. There's the free kick over the shoulder, scragged when he didn't really have the ball. But it's McCurry and Cockatoo-Collins, maybe O'Donnell, are the players that need to lift the Bombers in the middle of the ground.
Sexton finds Rice, who marks in front of Moorcroft. The battle of the Redheads. He gets around Moorcroft and heads towards the 50. Hume is at the back. Massey's there also. Massey leading in the race. Or Ricky Olorenshaw is locked up. Somehow got it out to Berbatov. They should be able to clear. Mercedes' floating kick is high. Rice is going to stand his ground. Cockatoo-Collins was there but couldn't take it. Comes underground towards Shea now. Gets his first touch. Kicks it up towards left half forward. This is important for Essendon. Important for Buick. But well fisted away from him. Good defensive work. And it's over the line.
Darren Buick saying not only was it the ball that he punched, but he also copped me in the left eye.
Dean Rice receiving some treatment. Rice backing into them.
And everybody's prime objective to contest the ball in that, so correctly play on.
And just as McCurry was dashing towards goal, it's a ruck free kick. Quickly taken by hand by Allen to Camporelli. Camporelli pokes it up short. Now White started this term down at full forward on Fletcher, and the two of them have drifted right up the ground. Kutafiti started the quarter out on the wing, being picked up by Fraser. And here's Silvani out on the wing. So who's playing where? Bradley in the cricket pitch area. Beaumont leads from half forward. Craig Bradley coming up for his 12th possession. Away to Silvani. With a bit of distance inside 50. Koda can't take the mark. Comes down to the front to Calthorpe. Bradley sandwiched, and Lloyd takes a pretty easy mark for him. McCurry, a beautiful hand pass, and they're off and running. Blumfield, O'Connor, and he's got a man unmarked on the square. Ryan O'Connor, don't turn your back to the play, son. And eventually, well, he still didn't have time. The Carlton defender still didn't have time to get back on Barnard, but now instead of being in the square, he's out in the pocket.
Well, you called it pretty well spot on, Drew. It was a fundamental mistake there by Ryan O'Connor. He took the mark and he had one of his teammates in the goal square, which he should have just chipped it over to. And whilst Paul Barnard has eventually come up with a footy, instead of being 2 metres out, he's on the tightest of angles, in commentator speak.
Fluky breeze. We've got a pretty good view behind him here. It'll be a tough shot even though he's close in. He's missed it. Well, that should have been a goal, but I don't know that you can blame Barnard totally. I think Rhino's getting a bit of a rev up.
Murphy will bring it back into play. Down to a 4-point margin. Silvani sneaking away from Lloyd. Centering it towards Hogg. Wants to go on with it. Back to Murphy, who initiated proceedings. A proper hand pass to McKay. It's going to be all right. Goes again to Murphy. Pokes it over the top. They're starting to run now. Sexton has it in towards Whitnall. He marks outside 50, the big young man. Has a couple of options and perhaps he didn't choose the correct one. He did as far as Mark McCurry was concerned. Off to Calthorpe. Calthorpe a poor kick, but Hogg couldn't trap it cleanly. Does have backup support. Bradley sweeps it to Silvani. He's in trouble, but eludes Cockatoo-Collins beautifully. Pokes it towards Massey. The young man is on centre wing. Now looks up towards 50, towards Allen. Got his hands to it, but couldn't complete it. Camporelli close to the boundary line, and taking it over was Ricky Olorenshaw. So another throw in, this time in Carlton's attacking zone. Left half forward. Fletcher beat Massey. The hand pass to Ronnie DiIulio. And away he goes. And he pops through another one to Carlton. He gets his second. He booted one in the second. And this is a very handy little 10-point lead.
Yes, a nice setup here. Watch the tap over the back from Allen. Straight to Massey. And then the quick hands to DiIulio. Just a little bit too quick for David Kelthorpe. Ronnie DiIulio started the season as a bit of a stop-fill player. Now he's one of their gun-on ballers.
In the foreground here, you can see Koutafidis lining up on the wing on Fraser. It's 30 and 43. White at full forward on Fletcher. Allen wins for the Blues. Bit of a fumble by Brown. Kuta came quickly off the wing. Very high ball. That'll bring Snow to the 50. Oh, Whitnell camped underneath it, saying, oh no, it flipped out to Massey.
I think a throw will be paid. Yep.
That's no score. It's coming back for the free kick, and Hardwick will take it. 10-point lead in this game is a huge margin. Blues lead by 10, 6-6 to 4 goals 8. Hardwick takes it from centre half back. Over the wing, Cockatoo-Collins spent the first half on the bench. O'Connor lost sight of it. Ball knocked up the ground well. Back to the middle. Oh, McCurry came through, leading with the elbow. And he's given up the free kick. Brown will take it.
Certainly can't fend off above the shoulder, Drew.
He's got Camporelli on the outer side. Carlton looking dangerous, but that's a good smother by Shea Cockatoo-Collins.
Yeah, you'd reckon that the Blues, if they could get another goal or two in a hurry, they'll just about break this game right open.
From the throw-in, Camporelli again heads towards goal. And one behind is added, but the Blues are threatening here at the MCG. 12 shots, plays 13, and they lead by 11 points. Fletcher back into play. He's got a couple of options. Peter Berbatov didn't let him down. He's got Calthorpe there for the hand pass if he wants it. Thought about going short to Lucas, but then finding he'll turn to Wellman.
Marking interference paid Sandy for over the shoulder on Sean Wellman. Dean Rice not happy.
Off to Lucas. Pushed as he got the kick, but it's going to be okay. McCurry in towards half forward. Lloyd was shoved out of it. Play on is the call, and so they do. Silvani, an interesting hand pass towards no man's land. Whitnell had come a long way down. He's got it now. Penetrating hand pass is going to be okay. Carlton can set something up here. Down towards Allen. Feeds it off once again to Brown. He's still a long way out. He's got players screaming for it. He stops for a moment. Kicks in towards half forward. And it's as far as it goes.
Great body work there by Berbatov. Might have been Fraser, in fact, on Koutafidis, just to knock him off the play.
It was. And this is Barnard for Essendon now.
Played a good game, Paul Barnard, a much maligned player, but he's having a day out here at the MCG. Up short to O'Connor.
Geez, he turned really quickly there. His head nearly fell off.
He's got the message. To the point of the goal square. Lloyd didn't go for the climb. He's looking for the umpire for some help. Buick off the ground, out of bounds on the full.
And in a previous marking contest, Drew, I mean, Silvani clearly pushes Matthew Lloyd here, but you can see the umpire on the top of the screen, so he's front on to Matthew Lloyd and not in a position to adjudicate whether in fact Lloyd was pushed in the back, so they can't guess them, so that one wasn't paid, but nevertheless certainly pushed in the back.
So Matty Hogg to take the free kick into play, kicked a wonderful goal in the second term. Blues lead by 11 points. Sort of scoreline that you might have got in the old days on a bog track and a real wet day. The beautiful conditions here apart from the breeze. Murphy's hand pass, bit of a fumble. Caracella up to Hardwick, inside the 50. Lloyd, beautiful. He's a great player, this kid. He signalled his intentions for the season when he kicked 10 in an Ansett Cup game against Hawthorn. Hasn't quite delivered during the premiership season, although he is their leading goal scorer with now 46 for the season. And he's about to kick for his 4th goal, which would be 2 weeks in a row.
And I think the player that would be concerning David Parkin at the moment is Mark McCurry. He's had a pretty good start to this second half.
See the paper blowing around. Lloyd, 49 metres out. It hangs, it wobbles, it's through. Well, he's keeping the Bombers in at 5 points the margin.
David Parkin on the phone. Bones, Barry Richardson looks on. Justin Murphy, he's had a stack of possession, but this was a great turnover by the Bombers. They anticipated the handball. Perhaps the kick would have been the better option, getting it out of that danger zone. But look at that wind just blowing the paper all over the place, and keeping it low is a pretty good option there.
Back to a 5-point margin here at the MCG. Lloyd has 4 goals, 1 in the first, 2 in the second, and now that one. 4 of the Bombers' 5. Will Carlton answer the challenge? Lucas up against Allen, and it's Allen who swats it, but straight to Hardwick, who pumps it high, back towards half forward. Almost a sensational one-hander to Gary Moorcroft, and it's going to be paid. He plays on and throws it out. Going to be okay, I think, for Fraser, who gets clear now and kicks up towards full forward. Buick's at the back. Sails over the top. The Bombers have hit the front. 2 goals in 30 seconds. And the Bombers are on their way. Blake Canicella gets his first goal.
Now, this just is not on this handball. It's telegraphed. Too many players would have enough experience around to know that was coming. They got away with it though, and a driving kick found the tunnel straight through the middle. Kevin Sheedy be talking about finals.
Blake Canicella gets his first goal. I think I might have called him Fraser out of the middle, but Blake, the goal is yours.
So now the Bombers by a point. Canicella, who started on the bench, is getting some important touches here. And that was a long goal from just about the front edge of the centre square. Lloyd went up in the goal square, didn't get hands to the ball, and threw it, went for a goal.
Drew, just while those 2 goals were being kicked, Sean Denham for Essendon was getting some work on his groin. I know it sounds interesting, but hopefully he'll be able to come back on. But it doesn't look all that crash hot.
Ball flipped on by Massey. Down goes White. Joey Masiti crashes through. Well, this is the time of the game when David Parkin will be calling for the sacrificial acts. And that's what he wants out of players going for shepherds and off-the-ball things that aren't possessions, but they're the team things. He aims for 80 sacrificial acts a game, and he reckons when we get to 80, we win 95% of them. Blood rule here for Damien Hardwick, and he comes off.
Been one of the Bombers' best again this match, as he has been all season. Stack of possessions across the half-back line.
Blumfield on. Boy from Tuggeranong on. So is Anstey from Carlton. So the unusually named club in Canberra has 2 AFL players here today on opposing sides. There's Blumfield getting it back to Masiti. Pretty good distance from a standing start. Bradley had to camp underneath it. Oh, golly, it had a red cross on it when it arrived.
Craig Bradley dished out one very similar to that a couple of weeks ago. And this is very similar to the one with Jose Romero when Craig Bradley came in a little bit late.
Well, that was interesting because that ball was kicked high into the air and it stopped. It hit a brick wall and it fell short as we saw.
Big mark from Kuda. Carlton looking to answer. Poor kick home from Kuda-Fides. And Mercury will tidy up at half-back.
He's not far away from turning it on, Kuda. He's had a pretty good match today, and you can just see that the confidence and the touch are coming back.
Blumfield between half-back and centre for the Bombers. They've regained the lead. Silvani from Sexton, off it goes to Bradley. O'Donnell gives chase. Back again to Sexton. Standing start, he pumps it up towards the 50, looking for Allen.
Free kick for high contact on Whitnell. On Allen in that marking contest.
60 metres out, he heads for home. He's got Brown down in the forward line. He's got Carlton coming in over the top, who smashes it over the line. And a throw in.
Yeah, good emergency work there by David Calthorpe. You could see Fraser Brown had snuck down there by himself, and he came over the top to spoil as Hardwick gets the treatment.
Here's a chance. Carlton answer with one. Lance Whitnell gets it.
They're saying it hit the post.
Ooh. So Whitnell, who was in fine form last week, gets his second today. Carlton answer.
And the Bombers were pretty keen on a post decision being paid here. Let's just have a look if it goes near it. Well, the umpire, you would have thought, had perfect vision of that. Nevertheless, she's on the scoreboard as a major, and Lance Whitnell once again having a major impact.
So the lead changing here, and the Blues back in front. Margin 5 points at the MCG. Midway through the third quarter. Hume, well done. Bradley's had a purple patch over the last few minutes. Long kick on the run by Braddles. Home you go. Oh, poster. Boy, that did hit the post, no doubt, but didn't it deserve a goal?
Great fly, wasn't it? Good quick hands by Darren Hume in the middle.
Fletcher bringing it back towards centre wing. Lucas was his target. Bradley going again. This time taken to the line by good pressure from Peter Berbakoff.
You're right about Bradley, Drew. He really has just dropped the clutch and put it into top gear. He's had a fly in the last 5 minutes, and Gary O'Donnell has to basically close him down.
Almost down to centre wing. O'Connor couldn't take it. Koutafiti's hands off to Brown, then to Murphy. Allen, who like it from that position, being a left footer, chipping in towards half forward, and little Ronnie Diolio is going to have a shot.
Ronnie asking for a 50 for the treatment from David Calthorpe after he'd taken the mark and not being paid.
Allen off and Mark Porter on for Carlton while this is happening.
You see David Calthorpe just let him know that he's there. Here. Yeah.
Well, he hasn't missed a game this year, Ronnie Diolio. With the number of senior players departing, he's been asked to step up in seniority. He pulls that ball badly to the left. Kicked 2 earlier goals, but they're the ones you've got to get on a day like this. 6-8 plays 7-9. They lead by 7 points.
Fletcher kicks in for the Bombers. Calthorpe camped underneath it. Bradley pulled up a step or two short rather than going with the business. He's got a 2-weeker hanging over him. O'Donnell. High ball to the centre. 2 Carlton, 1 Essendon. Poor kick by O'Donnell. Mercury had no hope. Whitnell plays on quickly to Bradley. Here he comes. Will he hit the post with the last one? He's got Massey in the goal square. Well played, Bradley. Goal to the Blues. Boy, they couldn't buy a goal in the first quarter, and now they're coming thick and fast.
Yeah, and it just came down to this poor kick there from Gary O'Donnell. He knew once he hit it that he'd made a blue, kicking it to a 2-on-1 situation. Lance Whitnell was not the man to be giving it to, but smart thinking by Bradley, delivering it to his young teammate.
Chris Massey becomes Carlton's 6th goal kicker again. This handy lead of 13 points. O'Connor up against Porter. The Bombers now will be looking for a reply. Koutafiti's taken. Carousella couldn't. Camporelli can to Rice. A high kick down to half forward. Whitnell got his hands to it. Murphy backpedals to Beaumont. Needs someone going past. Massey again. Goes in towards full forward. Pulls it back. Now needs a couple of rovers there. Pressure on Fletcher. Couldn't pick it up. Look at Brown. Bounce on it. O'Donnell is there with him. And there'll be a bounce. A bounce with umpire Martin Ellis. Danger time though for the Bombers. 8 minutes left in this third term. Carlton snuck clear. Essendon answered, but Carlton have suddenly rallied. Murphy sneaks away the hand pass. It's Camberelli, held it for a long time and has lost it to Mercury. The Bombers out of trouble for the moment. He's off to Moorcroft.
Gary Moorcroft at half-back for the Bombers. They hit the front, and now they trail by 13. Cockatoo-Collins filled his heels on the bench for the entire first half. Up towards half-forward. Lucas, hasn't been sighted for a little while. Scott Lucas, left. Oh, smothered by Rice. It comes to Bradley, who is just everywhere. He's having a magnificent third turn. Sexton into Hogg. Hogg's delivery, good. White. Spoiled by Fletcher. Cockatoo-Collins hooks the ball back, but the Blues have it. The hand pass through to Beaumont. Keeps it low for Massey. The youngster pulled off the ball and he hasn't got it. Free kick, Massey.
Smart decision there by Chris Massey. He's shown a bit today, and a nice little handball to himself. Drew the free kick.
Just 18 years of age. Kicks to full forward. It's punched down straight into the path of Buick, who floats the hand pass to O'Connor. Buick gets it back in the 1-2.
Good shepherd, O'Connor.
Buick's kick to centre half forward, and Lucas marks. He can kick it a country kilometre, so this is his range. Barnard in the goal square calling for it. There goes Boris, and delivering perfectly.
Michael Sexton there, just sitting 3 or 4 metres off, but the disposal was pinpoint and really did find him out there.
Goalless today, Lucas. That gets away to the left, and he is still goalless. Just 3 behinds, 1 in each quarter.
Just over 6 minutes left in this third quarter. 2 straight kicks in it. Craig Bradley's been quite a running machine for Carlton. Off he goes to Dean Rice, who, despite his knee problems, has carved himself out an excellent career. Blumfield in trouble. Camberelli has it stolen by Mercury. A chance here for Essendon. He goes deep into the forward line, and Shea is there. Cockatoo-Collins will have a shot 15 metres out, directly in front.
Well, she was a big interception, that one from Mark Mercury. He elected to go with the mongrel floater. Have a look at this one. It moves about 4 feet sideways in the air, and on the end of it was Shea Cockatoo-Collins, and this is a vital goal. I mean, you could argue that Essendon's finals hopes revolve on this round.
And he played 10 games this season, and he's booted 8 goals, but this is a very, very important one. Oh, what's he done? Oh dear. 1 behind to Shea. 11 points the margin. You don't need that.
That just looked a certainty, didn't it? Bradley kicks straight up the ground, clears the 50 easily, but the Bombers, if they win possession, could be a chance. O'Donnell gets it going forward. Well done, Camberelli. Back to half forward. Beaumont, who's marked well today, played in front. Beaumont straight to full forward. Whitnell couldn't quite complete the mark, the youngster. Fletcher, well done, Whitnell. And they lock it up 47 metres from goal.
Gee, that was great play by Whitnell, wasn't it? Just desperation plus. And he's only 18.
Yeah, some youngsters about. Massey just 18 as well. Here's a ball up. A lot of players around it. Wellman and Whitnell. Whitnell takes clean possession. For the boundary line, Renshaw. A few Carlton fans thinking maybe there's a free kick there, but it'll be thrown in. Ricky Renshaw, 10 possessions today. Tight game here at the MCG.
Mark Mercury just sitting down in the defensive area all alone, and Craig Bradley doing a similar job for the Blues.
Fraser Brown was one of those working hard at the bottom of that pack. Hume there also. Hardwick, who left the ground for the blood rule, is back and bandaged.
So Dennis Lilly finished his career.
And Big Carl. So an important couple of minutes now. Essendon cannot let Carlton sneak clear. On the other hand, what the Blues would give for another goal here. Whitnell will keep it in play. Does need assistance. He tries to go over the top to Scott Camarelli. Is not successful in keeping it in play.
Big lump of a kid, isn't he?
Porter edged out by Orion O'Connor. It's going to be a free kick to Essendon. In fact, the advantage is going to be paid. O'Donnell kicks wide and Dustin Fletcher marks it just inside the line.
He didn't complete
Didn't hold it.
Taking it over.
So we'll have a throw in. Not a good kick there by O'Donnell. Porter misses, trying to sweep it out the back. Hardwick, oh, an excellent smother by White, keeps it in play for Porter. He bends it back, but by geez, bend it back a long way. It's out of bounds on the full.
Fletcher still in the back pocket. 3.5 minutes to three-quarter time. 11-point lead to the Blues. Mercury as they work towards the southern stand side. Then straight up the corridor, Ola Renshaw outside 50. Hardwick over the wing. Here comes Lloyd. Got there too late, man in front. Oh, no mark either way. The umpire's going to ball it up.
If he can't determine whose mark it is, then he will ball up, and that's a correct call. Yeah, well, I mean, it's 6-1, half a dozen the other. I think that's a reasonable call.
Here's Stuart Wen, as you said, Sandy, the banker. Heard somebody in the crowd yell that out a moment ago. At least I think that's what he said. Tough in the middle there. Ball out towards centre wing. Camporelli flips the ball up to Brown. Hume on the run. Short pass. Whitnell in front. Good mark.
I think your hearing's going. It's Whitnell. That's a nutter. In towards Ronnie. Julio's away at half forward. He needs a big mark down in the forward line. Beaumont is there. Right with him is Berbatov. Here's a chance for Massey. Can he keep it in play? No. A whistle has sounded. And back it will come, and the free kick will go the way of Berbatov. Gives it away to Masidi. Kicks to half back. That looks like Caracella at the bottom. Receiving plenty of attention from Julio. Here he comes in towards the middle of the ground and Blumfield. Precious seconds ticking away. Wellman recovers, does well, gets it off towards Buick. He's under pressure. Brown, Lloyd gets in front spot. Here comes Silvani, and here comes the boundary line. Throw it in.
And Drew, that was one of those sacrificial acts that you were talking about. Take us through this one, John.
Yeah, well, here we see, who is it? It's Peter Berbatov. And
he fainted.
He fainted. He realises he's deep in defence, and he thinks, how can we clear this? Oh, well, I'll take a dive and hope the umpire falls for it. And he did.
Boundary throw in. Porter wins for the Blues. Masidi has it for Essendon. He's looking to set it up. Barnard in the chop, but Kutafiti's the man in front. Kutafides goes backwards to Bradley. 10 possessions this quarter to the Carlton skipper. Manton still at half-back. Murphy. Just over a minute left. Murphy pokes it up to centre wing. Long way up the ground. Whitnell. Wellman took him out. Free kick Whitnell.
Well, he took the front position there, Lance Whitnell, and really that was poorly disguised by Sean.
Jared, if I can just butt in and say that the problem there was that his objective wasn't to mark the ball, just to get rid of Whitnell.
Bradley had another possession. The Blues a chance to score on the siren, and Hume shoots for goal offline.
Drew, just while Hume has kicked that point, Dean Rice is one of the best shepherds of all time. I'm not too sure who it is. It's someone been on Wellman.
Yes, we're looking at him now, Russ.
Yeah, clean him up with a ripper.
He's not a well man at the moment.
Fraser. Mercury.
Well, it won into the ground. The Bombers have allowed Mercury to run free, and he's got a stack of possessions, but doing the damage for the Blues has been Craig Bradley, and it's a calculated gamble that Kevin Sheedy has taken. You'd reckon that Bradley's influence has just been marginally more important at this stage than that of Mercury.
Lucas to O'Connor down towards the half-forward line. Silvani ripped off the ball. Buick heads for home, but come back. It's a free kick, says umpire Darren Goldspink.
He doesn't give them away, but he gets them, Jared.
Yes, he helped the decision there also with the screw neck situation.
Hogs back towards centre wing. Wellman is up. Whether he is, as his name would suggest, remains to be seen. I don't think he is. But it's three-quarter time, and this is a good old battle royal here at the MCG. Carlton added 3 goals, 4 in that term. Essendon added 2 goals, 3. Damien Hardwick still having plenty to say.
And if we recall, Sandy, Damien Hardwick was the fellow that was basically taken out by Gavin Mitchell last week, so maybe he's just stressing to the umpires that incidents involving the innocent bystander should be policed by the umpires.
46 plays 58. We take a break. Here we go at the MCG. The lights are on, but there's a crowd of more than 50,000 here, and they're watching a great struggle. 2 goals the difference going into the final quarter. The Rhino wins it, but it's going to be the Bombers who want the first score. Johnson kicks down towards Cockatoo-Collins. He gets it away towards Mercury. Mercury puts it inside 50, and Hogg takes a juggling mark. So Johnson on for the Bombers, and Hogg's away for Carlton. Back towards the centre. Strong mark taken by Allen. Came from behind, snatched front spot from O'Connor, and will now kick Carlton into attack. A floating punt kick towards Whitnell. He's going to be the first to recover. He goes in hard. With him is Carousella in over the top. Chris Massey comes in to assist Whitnell. There'll be a bounce.
At three-quarter time, acting skipper for the Bombers, Sean Denham was sent over by Sheedy to the umpire, and he had a long chat with Darren Goldspink. Lasted a good minute or two. Camporelli tries to go off the ground, nearly kicks Carousella through for a goal. Fletcher. McKay hit the ball hard, and 1 possession as a result. In he goes to Allen. Not a great hand pass by him. Brown. White. Massey at full stretch. Good spoil by Blumfield, and it comes back to him. Oh, then he gives up a poor hand pass. Berbikoff. O'Donnell. Up towards centre wing. Lloyd. He's been fantastic. He's on a great player, and Matthew Lloyd has just been brilliant with his leading, marking, and 4 goals. But on that occasion, he's kicked it straight up to the opposition. Murphy gives it to Bradley. Craig Bradley had 10 possessions in the third term. Long to full forward. Blumfield. Not great distance, but Carousella takes the mark. Hasn't got much of a build, but he's certainly got courage, that boy. Into Calthorpe. He has got a build. To half forward. Manton! We hit the ground very hard. It comes Cockatoo-Collins' way. Out to Barnard. Back into the Cocky. Off the ground. Goal!
Shea Cockatoo-Collins had the awareness there not to take possession of the footy because he knew he was really hot, and had he taken it, no doubt the tackle would have been laid. But
Geez, he was put under the pump though, wasn't he, by the handball? What about this mark?
Oh, look.
50-50?
Yeah, I'm happy with that being called as play on. He didn't really hold it for very long at all. But Shea Cockatoo-Collins just aware enough not to take the footy, knowing that there was a tackle pretty imminent.
One straight kick in it. Shea missed a sitter early in the day, but he's made amends there. Johnson out of the centre to Hardwick. Only as far as Dean Rice. Now Carlton have had the ability to be able to answer any challenge so far today. What can they do now? Allen floats over the top, takes a fine grab. He'll head down towards Whitnell territory, comes wider. He's coming via Camporelli.
He's got McKay on.
sentinels in the square saying, here they are, pointing to the big sticks. Right there. Hasn't missed a game this season. Premiership player back in 1995. He's kicking from 48 metres. Coming back beautifully. Lovely kick for goal. What an answer.
Well, that one really did sting the Bombers after getting off to a good start in this final term. A quick rebounding goal to the Blues has robbed them of momentum, and now they really have to just start it all over again. But after ignoring the Mackay lead, Scott Camporelli took it upon himself to go back and kick the goal, and he did it pretty well. Tough shot from outside the 50.
Back in the middle with the Blues back out to a 2-goal lead. Allen palms to Brown, runs into a brick wall. Camporelli the goal scorer. A very high ball. Massey made a good contest. O'Connor to Hardwick. Wide to centre wing. That won't go out. Calthorpe. And support from Mercury. This looks good now for the Bombers. Johnson, long kick. Contested up there. Punched by Manton. All Carlton at ground level. Murphy took his eyes off it. Lucas has it. Spinning out of trouble. Hand pass knocked down by Allen. Comes to Hume.
Pushing the back.
Advantage. So Brown goes wide. Kudafidi's half-back flank. In short to Silvani. No mark. He laid it like an egg. And the umpire will ball it up.
Well, it does sneak through to the keeper, this one. As we see the sauce rolling over the ball.
Or as Drew would say, hatched.
Yes.
On centre wing, Somerville. An underground little pump. Taken away by Kudafides. Good kick. Good kick. And Beaumont is 50 out.
That is game-busting footy by Kuda.
No one at home, so he says, I'll head there. And he'll bounce it through. The Blues have the answers.
Well, well done to Ange Kudafidi. I'll rephrase that.
I think that's his twin, Jenna.
That's a combination of two great players.
And Diesel Kernahan and anybody else you like.
Well done to Anthony Kudafidis, who got the ball down there to Darren Beaumont, who kicked a goal.
Just brilliant football by Kudafides to burst through the pack. And this is a 3-goal lead now, the biggest margin in the game. The Blues have it out of the middle again. Brown applies the tackle. The ball comes free to Camporelli. Long. Whitnell in the goal square. He mightn't be needed. It is offline and through for a minor score.
Could be a handy point.
Jared, Carlton seemed to be winning the ball out of the centre so decisively. What would you do if you were Kevin Sheedy?
Well, I guess Kevin can only really just orchestrate changes in the middle of the ground there. It's up to the ruckman. Maybe he could try a different person in the ruck division. But he's got to get some players in the middle of the ground. They're going to take the ball away. McCurry's an obvious target who hasn't been in at the bounces.
It's Johnson sending Essendon forward down towards the 50. Carlton defence has been standing pretty strong. Silvani threw it out in front and went to ground.
I mean, it's getting to that stage now, John, where it's really critical for the Bombers. So you could even put a Matthew Lloyd into the centre bounces or a Scott Lucas just to have a little bit more strength there. Kudafides goes in for Carlton, and you could have a similar scenario.
Well, they've got to try and score while they've got it in that attacking zone, but it's Hogg who defends. Hardwick belts it out of the centre. No one waiting down, though. Only Camporelli as he chips it into the forward line again. Beaumont once more.
He's taken 9 marks, more than anybody else on the ground.
Yeah, it's good work, isn't it? They've left the whole forward line open for a player that really does know how to lead. He's just got to kick more goals.
46 metres. And is away to the left. Waiting down in front is Hardwick. Diulio claims it. Here's an opportunity. A snap! I look home! White has kicked it. if you're good enough.
And it was a defensive punch from the Bombers that left a bit to be desired. The ball needed to go over the boundary line. There you see the big punch coming from behind. A little bit of a fumble there and a good tackle. And it results in a Blues goal.
Well, Carlton, it looks like a match-winning lead in a very low-scoring, tight game. But there might be some twists and turns yet. Camporelli bursts out of the middle again. Beaumont. He's played a game. About he's kicking for goal. Back he goes to Camporelli, but too high. Cockatoo-Collins is there for the Bombers. Good hands, Mercury. Wide he goes to Berbikoff, but too far. Oh, he kept the ball in. Back to Mark Mercury. Calthorpe from behind. Punches down. Somerville playing the role of rover. Well done, Calthorpe. Carousella. Inside the 50. Allen is there for the Blues. Silvani to save. Wide to White. White to Brown. They've done it a few times today. Mix it up and what do you got? Milk chocolate. Brown, a good kick. Sexton. Offline with his kick. Well, the Bombers keen to save every point. Hardwick kicks out and in the back pocket Berbikoff.
Barnard takes the mark. He's almost down to half back. They've got just under 12 minutes, Essendon, if they're good enough. 52 plays 77. Big margin in the context of this game. Murphy on the outer wing. Kicks into half forward. Whitnell couldn't take it. Manton is there for the Navy Blues. Away he goes to Sexton. A floating punt into no man's land. Which way will it bounce? The Bombers now defending grimly. Blumfield gets the hand pass away to O'Donnell. Is forced to accelerate. Then finds something at the back. Wellman has got him at half back. Sean Wellman gives it away to Barnard again. Gets underneath it. It's not a pretty kick. It's high. They'll all clamour for it. McKay waits down. Can't take it cleanly. Silvani comes away with it. Tumbles it back towards the centre. Only as far as Fraser. Now they need a goal out of this. Fraser to full forward. And they might just get it with Mr. Lloyd kicking for number 5.
Oh, Sosh, you were caught then.
Well, he was caught out because of an unlikely turnover. It was just a poor kick. And we'll see it coming up here. It was from Sauce himself. He had the footy. And at the moment that Sauce was kicking the ball, his man was running towards the goal mouth.
He said, oh, heck, I better get on my bike and get back to him.
I'm in trouble.
9 kicks and 4 goals so far for Matty Lloyd. This one to keep them in touch. Locke's just come on for Carlton. And we're going to watch this boy. We might have just snuck it home. Just. But it's there. 5 goals to Matthew Lloyd. And they hang on. 8-10 plays 11-11.
Yeah, they keep the game alive here. Essendon are capable of kicking 2 or 3 goals in quick succession. But, John, you've highlighted an area of the game that the Bombers have struggled in, and that's just taking the ball away in this last couple of passages of play. But you notice that they're all prepared to take the defensive setup, and Carlton the same, and it's been Carlton winning.
Matthew Lloyd has 5 goals. Not too many can boast that sort of a return on Stephen Silvani. Ball back in the middle. Allen gets it going the Blues way. Brown. But he can't clear the centre square, and the umpire will ball it up. 70,969. I'm sure it built up after the start of the game, because I think it was struggling to be that at the start. And I think a lot of them maybe huddle up out of sight, up the back of the stands. There's been a bit of a threat of rain, but it hasn't rained all day. It's a great attendance, isn't it? Whitnell, good hand pass to Camporelli. He comes up short. Koutafidis. At the back, Carousella. Not much distance. O'Donnell has to wait. McKay gets it away from him.
He's had a great final term, Scott Camperelli, for the Blues.
Lucas off for Essendon. Rhino back on.
Camperelli 6 kicks in this term, and we've been playing 14 minutes.
Fletcher out the back. The Bombers need the next one smartly. Calthorpe high towards centre wing. Cockatoo-Collins is there, so too is Buick. But they're under plenty of attention. Hogg almost could have received a free kick.
And Matthew Hogg's been one of the Blues' best. He's had 17 possessions, and at the same time he's kept Darren Buick, one of the match winners for the Bombers, to just 10 possessions, 6 of those kicks and 4 handballs. But importantly, no goals for Darren Buick.
The lights on here at the MCG. Just a slight spitting of rain. Nothing serious at the moment. It was forecast for late in the day.
I've just said the rain's held off all day, and what happens 30 seconds later, here it comes.
And there it is. 8-10 plays, 11-11. Serious ramification for Essendon, but they haven't lost it yet. Johnson, 47 metres from home. They need it, and they've got it.
Sandy, that's one of the goals of the year that I've seen. It was just an individual performance by young Jason Johnson. He was involved in an extremely quick handball. Just have a look at this passage of play. There it is there. Quick hands over to Buick. Buick's handball was intercepted, but going through at a rapid rate of knots was Jason Johnson once again, following up his good work, and then belted it straight through the middle to keep the Bombers alive.
Jason Johnson has just produced a bit of football magic to kick a goal there to give the Bombers still a hope. Johnson, 20 years old, from the Calder Cannons, taken number 28 in the 96 draft. What a piece of play. Gave the hand pass, got it back, kicked a great long goal on the run. But here come the Blues again through Hume, and he hangs his head after giving that one up to Fletcher. Fletcher across the ground to the southern stand side. Just to 13 points the margin, and with still 8 minutes to go, a game which had looked Carlton's is alive still. Cockatoo-Collins just inside the boundary line, centre wing. His kick short of the 50. Bradley works to the rock. Calthorpe, well done. Play on. He centres the ball. Hitting it very hard. Moorcroft gets it across to Somerville. He hoists it high. Yours. At the foot of the pack, Hume to make amends, but he hasn't found the boundary line. This is on 50, and a bit of space here for Caracella. Into Buick. The Bombers lifting. A centering kick. Good mark, Murphy.
It was strong, wasn't it? It's the second telling mark he's taken in 5 minutes, Justin Murphy. Another good game from him.
Short to Sexton, but he takes it on the half volley. Hogg caught one high. No free kick. Play on is the call. The pressure building now. Blumfield gets rid of it quickly to O'Donnell. Hurriedly onto the left foot. He pokes it into the hole. And there once again is Murphy. Steady as a rock. Wide to Allen.
And Gary O'Donnell just exposed there with no right foot.
McKay.
Costly under that sort of pressure.
On the outer side of the MCG. Swings it in towards Whitnall territory. Fletcher goes to ground. Bradley, a little chip to go, 20 or so metres. O'Donnell may get there and keep it in play. He does. But that's very wide, and it's out of bounds on the full. A let-off for Carlton. McKay to bring it in.
So all the momentum in the Bombers, it should well have resulted in a goal.
6.5 minutes left. 64 plays, 77. Carlton leads, and that too has gone out on the full.
What was that?
Well, it was anything but pretty. Wellman popped a heavy one earlier in the match, but is okay. Goes short to O'Donnell. Swings it in towards the middle. Kept out was Camperelli. They look dangerous again, Essendon.
Over.
Moorcroft goes over the top to the Rhino, who can steady, shoot, and goal! The Bombers are still here.
Well,
Johnson in the middle was there again.
Yeah, he's a good player, isn't he? We've seen him play a couple of absolutely outstanding quarters for the Bombers over the last 2 years, but he hasn't been able to force his way in as a regular in this Bomber lineup, but he's got a big future in footy. But a much better passage of play there by Gary O'Donnell. He did pinpoint the pass. It was a bit of a gamble, but it came off, and this was a good kick under pressure from the Rhino. Now this is a big takeaway from the centre bounce. The Blues have absolutely blitzed in that area, but this one has got plenty of pressure written all over it.
And Allen wins it down to Brown. Fraser Brown bursts up to full forward, kicked out of there by Wellman, knocked forward by White. Caracella, one-touch footy, that was great. Ball bounces end on end. Cockatoo-Collins, Moorcroft fighting hard for the ball. Season on the line. Calthorpe. O'Connor, he's still a chance in the pocket. The Rhino. His strength kept him in play.
Oh, good play, Lloyd.
Here's Matty Lloyd. Use of the hips was great. Buick goes back with a hand pass. Calthorpe smothered. O'Connor again. Buick, it won't make it. Cockatoo-Collins is there, and through for a point it goes to make it one straight kick the difference.
And time, not a factor. Over 5 minutes remaining.
Not a bad game of footy, is it?
What a thriller.
Started at 1 mile an hour and finishing at 100.
But the Blues have got an absolute advantage in centre bounce takeaways. It's not going to help them at the moment, but if it goes back in there, the Bombers have got to do something about Fraser Brown, who's slaughtered him in that area all day.
Carlton led by 25 points at the 12-minute mark of this final term. Now it is a very different story. McKay and Brown head towards Whitnall. Couldn't quite trap it cleanly enough to keep it in play. They didn't give him a lot of room in which to move. One straight kick in it. Well, in their earlier meeting, there was a point, the difference at the end of the day. There's Whitnall. Somerville.
O'Donnell's now gone on to Brown, and Calthorpe's gone back to pick up Craig Bradley.
And here is the man you're talking about. Ripped away from the ball. Almost taken over the line. This time, Koutafidis keeps it in. Brown was slung. Gee, it is tight in there. Berbatov, interesting the way he got beat the ball on that occasion. Slapped back once again. Wellman, twisting and turning, loses the footy. Caracella's on the end of it. Blake Caracella into Johnson. What a spark this boy's provided. Johnson from the centre. Kicks up towards Lloyd at half forward. One grab. Couldn't take it. Buick pass clear. Left foot snap in towards goal. He pulls it away to the right. It's out of bounds in the right forward pocket. And there'll be a throw in.
What an opportunity for Buick, and he knows it. Over 70,000 at the MCG, and they're finding some voice now. Bombers trail by 6 points. It's flipped towards the goal square. Manton slung to the ground by Barnard. Great tackle. Camporelli gets it to Sexton. Oh, Diolio couldn't take it. Masiti short. Oh, Cockatoo-Collins almost.
Hurt himself.
Still down the Cocky. White goes short to centre wing. At fever pitch the crowd. White's hand pass. Hume to Brown. Brown to Bradley. Calthorpe too late with the spoilers at 50. Carlton fans say yes, umpire says no. Cockatoo-Collins come down on his jaw by the looks of him. He was at such full stretch. Camporelli had a brilliant finish to the game. Whitnall. White offline, but it's a 7-point lead to the Blues.
It's a big behind, isn't it? Oh, what a finish. And this Cockatoo-Collins. We'll have a look and see what happened to him, Jared.
Well, he does do a flat-out dive. It was a great effort. He just doesn't quite get there, but there you see him smashing his head into the MCG turf, and he would have been dazed after that one.
Prodigious kick back into play. Wellman was one of the flyers. Johnson comes away over the centre towards Buick. He's got it in front of Hogg. with 2 3/4 minutes remaining. They're down by 7 points. Buick will blast from the middle. It's a big punt kick. They need a big mark. Lloyd! He's got it, I think. They're still there. Oh! 1 point again. It's the margin. Can you believe it?
No.
In a word.
What a comeback from the Bombers after seemingly being out of it. I think it got out to about 17 points, the deficit.
25.
25, in fact. Well, you would have said then that the game was almost gone, but this is a fantastic comeback and a fitting result to a good match.
2.5 minutes remaining, a point the margin. And when they last played in round 3, it was a point the margin. That time it was Essendon in front. Carlton lead by a point now. Calthorpe out of the middle, inside 50. Big early leap by Cockatoo-Collins, not near the ball. Buick loses control. Kuta followed up and got the ball to the line. And it's out of bounds, just inside the attacking 50 for the Bombers. We could get a repeat of a 1-point margin. Cockatoo-Collins has gone off after that full-length dive and he landed on his jaw. What a finish. After the Blues led by 25 points at the 12-minute mark in this term, Essendon back to within 1.
From the throw-in, Brown picks it up now, tries to get out of the tackle. Carlton need possession. They need to maintain it. Caracella needs to score. At least Essendon does. Caracella to Calthorpe. Get those little pistons pumping. He gets underneath it. It's high. They're inside 50. They need a mark. Moorcroft gave away centimetres. And Darren Goldspeak's tapping his bottom. What's that suggest?
Well, he's paid the mark to Moorcroft and telling the other umpire to go down to the goal square, and the mark definitely paid to Moorcroft. I don't think he controlled it.
Here's the kick as he goes on with the job and puts through one behind. Scores are level with 1 1/4 minutes remaining. 1:25 in fact. 11-12 apiece. They have come back from looking gone. 25 points down earlier on in this term.
You'd call this a pressure kick.
Well, he's pretty good, Bradley, normally. That was no exception. Brown has it at half-back. Carlton have had problems scoring, though, in the last few minutes. It's all been down at one end of the ground. Sexton gives the hand pass away. They've only got just over a minute left now. They kick towards half-forward. It was a bad one for Whitnell. The Bombers tidy up again, going to the outer side. Carlton have the numbers. And the mark is taken. Here's Rice. Look out, because Moorcroft is there once again. He gives it away to McCurry. McCurry's running inside 50. 40 metres out. He shoots and he scores. Oh, marked on the line. Marked on the line by Silvani. Kicks it back into Rice. He's clean bowled. Lucas is back on. Lucas shoots. Essendon hits the front. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Oh, Stephen Silvani.
Jared, why would he choose to do that?
Listen to that crowd. Incredible.
Well, let's just have a look. Steve Silvani takes one of the best marks of the afternoon to save what we thought was going to be not only the match but 4 points. And then in an effort to get the ball on quickly to Rice, he doesn't quite hit it. And the mistakes are costly.
31 seconds remaining, and the Bombers have stolen this, but there's time yet for the Blues to get a draw. Oh, Stephen Silvani's kick out of defence, straight up the ground with no distance. Bradley gets the hand pass to McKay. Beaumont has been a very good forward today. Marked everything on the forward line. In short, Camporelli swamped. Free kick to him.
And importantly, Camporelli, one of the few players on the ground that could convert from this distance, and he may know that the siren
Is imminent.
He'll also probably find out very shortly that the game's over.
Probably go before he kicks it, or as he kicks it, and it comes up short. The Bombers win by 6 points.
Incredible.
After being 25 points down halfway through the final term.
Now look at them head towards young Johnson. He was the spark that helped ignite them. While the Carlton story tells a very different picture. For those of you who've joined us late, the story was told in the final term. 3 goals to 6, and bang, back came Essendon to win by one straight kick, 12-12 to 11-12.